Hi, Reggie back speaking about healing America's narratives, the feminine, the masculine, and our collective national shadow. In the previous episode, we spoke about development, took a deeper dive into development, something we've been speaking about throughout this series, and its importance in terms of what we see and how we're able to see it, right? And that was one of three concerns I introduced a couple of episodes ago that are essential if we're really going to, focus on healing our narratives. The other two concerns were the narrow way we tend to solve problems and how we have to shift that. And then the interrelatedness of our multiple crises, what Daniel Schmachtenberger refers to as the meta-crisis, how everything is really interconnected. But today, I just want to spend a couple of minutes taking a closer look at the narrow way we solve problems. And history is filled with these, current events are filled with these. We tend to face a problem, resolve it, or think we're resolving it, and in so resolving it, either or both create new problems or exacerbate already existing problems. So one kind of sweeping example of that comes from the industrial age, when factories began to appear across the country, and there was waste coming from the factories, both in terms of smokestacks and more solid waste. We just sent it out into the atmosphere, into the rivers, and buried it under the ground. And what we found out subsequently was that polluting the waters killed many species. Burying it in the ground over a period of decades killed or created illness in many human beings who didn't know that the ground beneath the homes they lived in or nearby to the homes they lived in was polluted. And the atmosphere, the damage that we've done to the atmosphere is one of the causes of global warming, the release of all of the carbon into the atmosphere, carbon-based fuel exhaust basically into the atmosphere. So short-term problems, get rid of this waste. Oh, here's a river. We can bury it in this hole. We can send it up into the sky because the sky seems to be infinite. Okay, short-term solutions, not a great result. We've done that with chemicals in general. And I'm not only picking on the industrial age folks, but when we needed to deal with pests who were, infiltrating our crops, we developed these chemicals that we could spray that would get rid of the pests and didn't really test them to find their impacts on things other than the pests, and found out that they were poisonous to human beings, right? Short-term solution, bigger problem. So the list goes on and on. In Vietnam, we were concerned with the spread of communism, and so that was a problem. The way we attempted to resolve it was bomb and go to war in Vietnam to insert democracy at the point of a gun. And one of the things we did while we were there, besides bombing and shooting, was defoliate the country with what is called Agent Orange, which not only killed foliage, killed many Vietnamese people, and killed many United States military men once they got home. More men, more combat veterans in Vietnam died subsequently due to the impact of Agent Orange than died on the ground in actual combat injuries. So those are just a handful of examples. There are many, many more. They're not all industrial age based, but you get the idea. Very often, last thing I'll say, the problem that we're faced with is the people who are charged with resolving a given issue have a profit motive. They need to make money or save money or make sure their shareholders get their dividends. So either they rush their products or their solutions and don't really understand the consequences of them, or they're aware of the consequences and put the product or the solution out there anyway, figuring that it's not that bad and they can resolve it later. Either way, right? Short-term view, short-term solution, exacerbation of existing problems, or creating new ones. We need to stop doing that. And I haven't even touched on, right, the brilliance of the folks in the tech industry who didn't really understand democracy or history and put their products out there with no idea, or maybe with some idea, I don't know, of the impact it would have on human beings. And I mean everything from social media to smartphones, quote unquote, and especially on our younger human beings, the addictive qualities of the screen time. So again, lots of things to talk about there. Short-term view, usually for profit, leads to more and more problems. All right, I look forward to speaking with you the next time. Thank you for tuning back in.